My sister crossed a line with my daughter, and it backfired spectacularly. I never understood the obsession with being perfect online. My name is Anna, and I live in the real world. I'm a forensic accountant for the federal government. Don't miss what happens next. Subscribe now and comment where you're watching from. Let's find out how far this incredible story goes. My days are filled with spreadsheets, audits, and tracking down hidden assets. My joy comes from my 8-year-old daughter, Maya. Maya is a firecracker. She loves digging for fossils, playing soccer in the mud, and wearing mismatched superhero socks. To me, she is absolutely perfect. But to my younger sister, Megan, Maya was a project that needed fixing. Megan was a lifestyle influencer with 3 million followers. Her entire life was curated, filtered, and monetized. She lived in a pristine white-on-white penthouse and sold a high-priced beauty line called Aura. Megan's brand was all about luxury, aesthetics, and relentless perfection. She had no children of her own, which meant she often looked at Maya not as a niece, but as a missed marketing opportunity. "She's so rustic," Megan would say, wrinkling her perfectly contoured nose whenever Maya ran past us with dirt on her knees. I always brushed off her comments. I thought Megan was just vain and shallow, a harmless byproduct of internet fame. I had no idea how dark her obsession with her image had truly become. Megan's cruelty was always disguised as help. She was the master of the backhanded compliment. She would send Maya expensive, itchy lace dresses that a child could never play in, and then complain to our mother when Maya refused to wear them. "I'm just trying to elevate her tastes," Megan would whine on the phone. "Anna lets her run around looking like a little boy. It's embarrassing for my brand if my followers see her." That was the core of the issue. Megan believed that everyone in her orbit existed solely to enhance her online aesthetic. If you didn't fit the color palette, you were a liability. My mother unfortunately enabled this behavior. She worshipped Megan's success and often took her side. "She just wants to bond with Maya," my mother would tell me, adjusting her glasses. "You should let Megan give her a little makeover. It would be fun." I always put my foot down. I wanted Maya to be a child, not a prop for an Instagram reel. I wanted her to value her brain and her kindness over her reflection in a mirror. But Megan was not used to being told no. She saw my boundaries not as rules, but as challenges to be overcome. The real trouble began at my mother's annual 4th of July barbecue. It was a sweltering afternoon, and Maya was having the time of her life running through the sprinklers with her cousins. She was wearing her favorite outfit, a bright green dinosaur t-shirt and denim shorts. Her dark, curly hair was plastered to her forehead, and she was laughing wildly. I sat on a lawn chair sipping iced tea, perfectly content. Then Megan arrived. She swept into the backyard wearing a flowing white linen dress and oversized sunglasses, flanked by an assistant holding a ring light. She immediately began filming a vlog, panning the camera across the yard. When the lens landed on Maya, Megan paused. "And here is my sweet, wild niece, Maya," Megan said to her phone, her voice adopting that fake, breathy influencer tone. "As you can see, she's in her tomboy phase. We definitely need to do something about that hair, don't we, guys?" I stood up immediately, my protective instincts flaring. I walked over and blocked the camera lens with my hand. "We are not doing anything about her hair, Megan," I said firmly. "Turn the camera off. She's playing." Megan rolled her eyes, ending the recording with an exaggerated sigh. "You're so dramatic, Anna," Megan hissed, slipping her phone into her designer bag. "My followers love family content. I was just teasing. You were humiliating her to an audience of 3 million strangers," I corrected, keeping my voice low so Maya wouldn't hear. "She's 8 years old. She doesn't need to be analyzed by your comment section." Megan crossed her arms, her perfectly manicured nails tapping against her elbow. "You're just jealous," she scoffed. "You want her to be a miserable, boring accountant just like you. I could make her famous. I could get her modeling contracts. But you keep holding her back because of your own insecurities." I stared at my sister, appalled by her delusion. "I want her to be a child," I said firmly. "I don't care about your followers. Do not film her again without my permission." Megan smiled, but it was a cold, calculating expression. "Fine," she said smoothly. "If you want her to look like a little street urchin, that's your choice as a mother." She turned on her heel and walked back to the patio to mingle with the adults. I thought the argument was over. I didn't realize it was just the beginning of her twisted revenge. The following weekend, I was called into the office for an emergency audit. A major federal contractor was being investigated, and the deadline was brutal. I hated working on Saturdays, but I had no choice. My husband was out of town at a medical conference, so I dropped Maya off at my mother's house early in the morning. "I'll be back by 5, I told my mother, kissing Maya on the forehead. "She has her coloring books and her tablet. Just let her relax." My mother nodded, pouring herself a cup of coffee. "Don't worry, Anna. We'll have a lovely, quiet day. Focus on your work." I drove to the city, my mind occupied by tax codes and offshore accounts. I worked relentlessly through the morning, barely taking a moment to eat my sandwich. I trusted my mother. She was older and a bit out of touch, but she loved Maya deeply. I had no reason to suspect that she would betray my explicit instructions. But I had underestimated the power Megan held over her. To my mother, Megan was a celebrity. Whatever Megan wanted, Megan got. And what Megan wanted that Saturday was content. She needed a viral moment to launch her new haircare line. At noon, Megan's sleek white Range Rover pulled into my mother's driveway. She marched into the house with her assistant and a massive bag of salon equipment. "Surprise!" Megan announced, throwing her arms open. "I decided to come save the day. Let's have a girls' afternoon." My mother, entirely starstruck, welcomed her in. "Oh, Megan, that's wonderful. Anna is working all day." Megan spotted Maya sitting on the rug, deeply engrossed in building a complicated Lego spaceship. "Maya, sweetie," Megan cooed, crouching down. "Auntie Megan is here. And I brought presents. Do you want to play a fun game with me? We're going to play beauty parlor." Maya looked up, hesitant. "Mommy said I could finish my spaceship." "The spaceship can wait," Megan said, her voice taking on a strict edge beneath the sweetness. She looked at my mother. "Mom, doesn't Maya need a haircut? Her ends are so damaged. I brought my professional scissors. I can just give her a little trim." My mother, eager to please her wealthy daughter, nodded. "A trim wouldn't hurt, Maya. Aunt Megan knows all about hair." That was all the permission Megan needed. She wasn't planning a trim. She was planning a complete, forced transformation for her audience. I finished my audit file at 4:30 p.m. My eyes were burning from staring at spreadsheets, but I felt a sense of accomplishment. I packed my briefcase and walked out to my car, eager to pick up my daughter and order a pizza for dinner. I drove through the Saturday traffic, listening to a podcast, completely oblivious to the nightmare unfolding across town. When I pulled into my mother's driveway, Megan's Range Rover was nowhere in sight. I assumed she was busy filming in her penthouse. I unlocked the front door and walked inside. "Mom? Maya? I'm here," I called out, dropping my keys on the console table. The house was eerily quiet. My mother walked out of the kitchen, wiping her hands on a dish towel. She looked nervous. Her eyes darted away from mine. "Hi, Anna. You're early." I finished up. "Where's Maya?" I asked, looking toward the living room. The Lego spaceship was abandoned on the floor. "Well," my mother stammered, wringing the towel in her hands. "Megan stopped by. She said she was taking Maya out for a fun girls' day. They went to her studio downtown. She wanted to treat her to some ice cream and a little pampering." My blood ran cold. "You let Megan take her?" I asked, my voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "After I specifically told you not to let her film Maya?" "She said she wasn't filming," my mother said defensively, stepping back. "She just wanted to bond. You're always so hard on her, Anna. She's your sister. She wanted to give Maya a little trim, make her feel pretty." "A trim?" I yelled, the panic rising in my chest. "You let her cut my daughter's hair without my permission?" I pulled my phone out of my pocket with shaking hands. I dialed Megan's number. It went straight to voicemail. I dialed again. Voicemail. She was screening my calls. I opened a tracking app one had installed on Maya's tablet, hoping she had it with her. The location pin showed them at Megan's downtown studio, exactly as my mother had said. I didn't waste another second. I didn't say goodbye to my mother. I just turned and ran out the door. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly they ached. Megan didn't do anything just for fun. Everything was content. If she had Maya at her studio, she was broadcasting her to the world. At a red light, I grabbed my phone and opened Instagram. I navigated to Megan's verified profile. A pulsing pink ring around her profile picture confirmed my worst fear. She was live. I tapped the circle, my stomach twisting into tight knots. The screen loaded, revealing Megan's bright white studio. She was standing in front of the camera, wearing a sleek black apron over her designer clothes. And sitting in the salon chair in the center of the frame, draped in a plastic cape, was my 8-year-old daughter. Maya looked absolutely miserable. Her eyes were red like she had been crying, and her posture was completely rigid. "Hey beauties," Megan chirped to the camera, reading the scrolling comments. "We are back with the ultimate makeover. As you know, my niece Maya has been rocking the whole feral tomboy look for way too long. Today we are bringing her into the Aura family. Say hi, Maya." Maya didn't wave. She just stared at the floor. The live viewer count in the corner of the screen showed 50,000 people watching. 50,000 strangers staring at my terrified child. I slammed my foot on the gas pedal, ignoring the yellow light, racing toward the city center. I kept the live stream playing on my dashboard mount, listening in horror as the broadcast continued. "Her hair was just a disaster, guys," Megan was saying to the camera, running her hands through Maya's hair. "So we did a massive chop." The camera panned closer. My breath caught in my throat. Maya's beautiful long dark curls were gone. Megan had chopped them into a harsh, uneven, blunt bob that barely reached her chin. It looked terrible, like it had been hacked off with kitchen scissors. But the haircut wasn't even the worst part. Megan picked up a bowl of strong-smelling chemical paste. "Now we are applying the Aura Lightning Cream," Megan announced proudly. "We are going to give her some bright, sun-kissed blonde highlights so she doesn't look so gloomy." She was bleaching my 8-year-old's hair. Children's scalps are incredibly sensitive. Strong chemical bleach can cause severe burns, allergic reactions, and permanent damage. I watched as Megan sloppily painted the harsh chemicals onto Maya's remaining hair, completely ignoring the way Maya flinched and squirmed in the chair. "Aunt Megan, it burns," Maya whimpered softly, her voice carrying through the microphone. Megan just laughed it off. "Beauty is pain, sweetie. Just hold still. It's just the active ingredients tingling," Megan told her audience, lying through her teeth. "That means the Aura Lightener is working its magic. Link in bio to buy your own kit, guys." She was using my daughter's pain to shill her cheap, private label beauty products. The comments on the live stream were scrolling by rapidly. Some followers were cheering her on, saying Maya looked so much chicer, but others were expressing concern. "She looks like she's crying. Is bleach safe for kids that young? Why is it burning her?" Megan ignored the negative comments, keeping a plastic, manicured smile plastered on her face. "She's just not used to sitting still for so long," Megan lied to the camera. "She's going to love it when it's done. We're turning a caterpillar into a butterfly." Maya was silently weeping now, tears rolling down her cheeks and dropping onto the plastic cape. The sight of her crying broke something deep inside me. The protective motherly instinct morphed into pure, unadulterated rage. I wasn't just going to stop the video. I was going to tear my sister's entire empire to the ground. I swerved into the parking lot of Megan's studio building, throwing the car into park. I sprinted across the pavement and threw open the heavy glass doors of the lobby. I didn't stop at the reception desk. I ignored the security guard who shouted at me to sign in. I ran straight to the elevator and slammed my fist against the button for the penthouse floor. The agonizingly slow ride up felt like an eternity. I stared at the floor numbers ticking upward, my heart pounding a frantic rhythm against my ribs. 10, 11, 12, ding. The elevator doors slid open. Megan's studio took up the entire top floor. It was a sprawling loft with floor-to-ceiling windows and blindingly bright ring lights set up everywhere. I could hear Megan's voice echoing through the open space. "Just 5 more minutes, guys, and we'll wash it out. The transformation is going to break the internet." I marched down the hallway, my boots echoing loudly on the polished concrete floor. Megan's assistant, a young girl holding a clipboard, stepped into my path. "Excuse me, ma'am, you can't be back here. We're filming live." I didn't even slow down. I shoved past her with so much force she stumbled backward into a wall. I burst through the double doors of the main filming room. "Megan!" I screamed, my voice tearing through the quiet hum of the studio equipment. Megan jumped, spinning around to face the door. The live stream was still running, perfectly positioned on a tripod to capture the entire room. 50,000 people watched as I stormed onto the set. "Anna!" Megan gasped, her eyes widening in genuine panic. "What are you doing here? You're ruining the broadcast. Turn that camera off right now," I roared, pointing a shaking finger at her. I didn't wait for her to comply. I walked straight past her, grabbed the expensive professional camera off the tripod, and slammed it face down onto the counter. The live feed abruptly cut to a black screen, but the audio was still picking up everything. I rushed over to Maya. My beautiful brave girl was shaking like a leaf. The smell of ammonia and cheap bleach was overpowering. Her scalp was bright red and irritated. "Mommy!" Maya sobbed, throwing her arms around my neck. It hurt so bad. She wouldn't let me wash it out. I wrapped my arms around her, furious tears welling in my eyes. I looked over Maya's shoulder at my sister. Megan stood there, looking more concerned about her broken camera than her niece. "You are a monster," I said, my voice eerily calm despite the fury boiling in my veins. I dragged Maya out of the salon chair and rushed her over to the industrial sink in the corner. I turned on the lukewarm water and began frantically rinsing the harsh chemicals out of her hair, massaging her burned scalp as gently as I could. Megan crossed her arms, pacing behind me. "You are completely overreacting, Anna. It's just hair color." I was doing her a favor. "Do you know how much a professional makeover costs?" She looked homeless before. "You kidnapped my daughter," I snarled, keeping my focus on washing the bleach away. "You assaulted her. You put toxic chemicals on a child's skin to sell your garbage products." "I am calling the police, Megan." Megan laughed nervously. "The police? Are you insane? Mom gave me permission. And the viewers loved it. You're just embarrassed because you're a terrible, neglectful mother who doesn't care about her kid's appearance." I finished rinsing Maya's hair and wrapped her head in a soft towel. I picked her up in my arms. She buried her face in my shoulder. I turned to face my sister. "You messed with the wrong mother," I whispered. I walked out of the studio without another word, ignoring Megan as she yelled insults down the hallway. I carried Maya all the way to the car, placed her gently in the back seat, and buckled her in. She was exhausted, traumatized, and in pain. "I'm so sorry, baby," I whispered, kissing her cheek. "Mommy is here. It's over." I drove straight to a pediatric urgent care clinic. The doctor confirmed that Maya had suffered first-degree chemical burns on her scalp from the unregulated bleach. He prescribed a soothing ointment and told me to monitor her for allergic reactions. I sat in the clinic waiting room, holding the prescription slip, my blood turning to ice. My sister had physically harmed my child for internet clout. By the time we got home, the internet was already exploding. Megan's sudden camera drop had sparked a massive wave of drama. Clip channels were re-uploading the live stream. And Megan, true to form, was already spinning the narrative. She had posted a tearful, highly edited video on her Instagram story, claiming that her mentally unstable sister had violently attacked her in her studio. She played the ultimate victim, crying without shedding a single actual tear. Her massive army of followers mobilized immediately. My phone started blowing up with hate messages. Megan's fans had found my personal Facebook and LinkedIn pages. They were calling me abusive, ungrateful, and a hater. They claimed I was jealous of Megan's success and that I was trying to extort her. I turned my phone off and tossed it into a drawer. I didn't care about the trolls. I cared about my daughter. The next morning, I took Maya to a highly rated pediatric salon. The stylist was incredibly kind. She looked at the hacked, uneven bob and sighed. "We can fix this," the stylist promised Maya softly. "We're going to give you a really cool, edgy pixie cut. Like a superhero." Maya managed a weak smile. The stylist worked her magic, evening out the damage and applying a deep conditioning treatment to soothe her scalp. When she spun the chair around, Maya looked in the mirror. The harsh bob was gone, replaced by a cute, sporty pixie cut that suited her energetic personality perfectly. "I love it," Maya whispered, touching her hair. I paid the stylist double her asking price. My daughter was healing, but my sister was still out there, profiting off the trauma she had caused. It was time for me to go to work. Megan spent the entire weekend doing a press tour of victimhood. She went on popular drama podcasts, weeping about how hard it was to have a toxic family. She claimed that she had only used gentle organic products on Maya, and that I had completely fabricated the burns. I just wanted to make her feel like a princess. Megan sniffled into a microphone. But Anna hates seeing anyone happy. The more she talked, the more her Aura hair care line sold. She was monetizing the controversy masterfully. Her followers ate it up, praising her resilience and buying her bleach kits in solidarity. My mother even called me, demanding that I apologize to Megan for ruining her broadcast. I hung up on her and blocked her number. They all thought I was just going to sit quietly and take the abuse. They thought I was just a boring, powerless accountant. They had completely forgotten what kind of accounting I actually did. I wasn't a bookkeeper. I was a senior forensic auditor for the Internal Revenue Service. My entire career was built on dismantling complex financial frauds, tracing hidden shell companies, and destroying white-collar criminals. Megan had invited a shark into her bathtub. On Monday morning, I didn't go into the office. I took a week of personal leave. I sat down at my home computer, cracked my knuckles, and opened a blank dossier. If Megan wanted to wage a war in the public eye, I was going to wage mine in the financial shadows. I started by pulling the public business filings for her company, Aura Beauty LLC. It was registered in Delaware, a classic move to obscure ownership. But I knew how to dig. I traced the corporate officers, cross-referencing them with offshore databases. It took me 12 hours of relentless searching. But I found the manufacturing origin of her luxury organic bleach kits. They weren't made in a pristine lab in California, as she claimed. They were white-labeled, mass-produced chemical pastes imported from an unregulated factory overseas. The active ingredients included high levels of industrial-grade ammonia, completely unfit for cosmetic use on human skin, let alone a child's scalp. She was slapping a pink label on toxic waste and selling it at a 900% markup. I downloaded the shipping manifests, the ingredient lists, and the safety data sheets. I had the physical proof that her product was a hazard. But I wasn't done yet. I moved on to her revenue streams. As a federal auditor, I knew exactly what red flags to look for. I analyzed the social media engagement metrics she used to secure her massive corporate sponsorships. I ran her follower lists through a specialized forensic algorithm designed to detect bot networks. The results were staggering. Out of her 3 million followers, nearly 2 million were fake accounts purchased from click farms in Eastern Europe. She was defrauding her sponsors, claiming a massive, engaged audience that simply didn't exist. This was wire fraud on a multi-million-dollar scale. Next, I looked into her personal spending. She constantly flaunted her designer bags, her penthouses, and her luxury cars. But when I cross-referenced her LLC's declared revenue with her public lifestyle, the numbers didn't align. There was a massive discrepancy. I traced a web of shell companies she used to funnel money and write off personal luxury expenses as business marketing costs. She was evading hundreds of thousands of dollars in federal taxes. By Wednesday night, my dossier was 60 pages long. It was a masterpiece of financial destruction. It contained enough evidence to trigger a massive federal raid. I could have just submitted the file to my superiors at the IRS and let the slow wheels of government justice crush her over the next few years. But Megan had humiliated my daughter in front of 50,000 people. A quiet, bureaucratic takedown wasn't enough. She needed to be destroyed in the exact arena where she drew her power. The internet. I needed a journalist. Not a gossip blogger, but a real hard-hitting investigative reporter. I reached out to a contact at a major national news publication, a journalist famous for exposing influencer scams and corporate fraud. We met at a quiet diner on Thursday morning. I handed him the encrypted flash drive containing the entire dossier. Everything is in there, I told him, sipping my black coffee. The fake followers, the wire fraud, the tax evasion, and the toxic ingredient manifests for Aura Beauty. It's all verified with public and corporate records. The journalist plugged the drive into his laptop. He spent 20 minutes silently scrolling through the documents, his eyes growing wider with every click. He looked up at me, a predatory smile on his face. "This is a Pulitzer-level takedown," he whispered. "I can have it published by Friday morning." Friday morning arrived. Meghan was scheduled to host a massive launch party for her new Aura products that night. The venue was booked, the celebrities were invited, and the champagne was chilling. At exactly 8 a.m. the article went live. The headline was devastating. The Toxic Illusion. How influencer Meghan's Aura brand is built on fake followers, tax fraud, and dangerous chemicals. The journalist had perfectly synthesized my forensic data. He included the safety data sheets proving the bleach was toxic. He included the data visualizations showing the massive bot farms. He laid bare the entire web of tax evasion. I sat at my kitchen table drinking tea and watched the internet explode. The impact was instantaneous. Within an hour, the article was trending at #1 on Twitter. Clip channels that had been defending her yesterday were now posting furious takedown videos. TikTok was flooded with users analyzing the evidence. The hashtag #AuraScam began trending globally. Meghan tried to do what she always did. She posted a tearful story claiming it was all a coordinated smear campaign by haters. But you can't gaslight a shipping manifest. You can't cry your way out of federal tax documents. The evidence was irrefutable. By noon, the sponsors started dropping. Major makeup brands released public statements severing all ties with Meghan, citing breaches of ethics and morality clauses. The department stores that carried her Aura line pulled the products from their shelves instantly to avoid liability for the chemical burns. Her empire was unraveling at the speed of light. At 2 p.m., the venue for her launch party canceled her reservation, refusing to be associated with a massive fraud scandal. Her PR team, realizing the sheer magnitude of the evidence, quit en masse. Meghan was completely isolated, watching her entire carefully curated life burn to the ground in real time. My phone rang. It was my mother. "Anna, what is happening?" she cried hysterically. "Meghan is having a panic attack. The news is everywhere. Did you do this?" "I simply provided the truth," I said coldly. "She built a life on lies and she hurt my daughter to protect it. I told you she messed with the wrong mother. You ruined her life over a haircut," my mother screamed. "No, Mom," I replied. "She ruined her own life by committing federal fraud. The haircut was just the catalyst. Don't call me again." I hung up. The weekend brought no relief for Meghan. The article had triggered a chain reaction. On Monday morning, the Federal Trade Commission (FTC) announced an official inquiry into her fake follower counts and deceptive advertising practices. The FDA issued a public warning regarding the toxic chemicals in her Aura products. And quietly, my colleagues at the IRS opened a massive criminal audit into her shell companies. Meghan's bank accounts were frozen pending the investigation. Her 3 million followers vanished into thin air once Instagram purged the bot accounts, leaving her with a fraction of her audience. The comments on her remaining posts were universally brutal. She went dark. She deleted her social media accounts, retreating into her penthouse to await the inevitable legal consequences. She had pushed my daughter into a puddle of public humiliation, assuming we were too weak to fight back. She didn't realize that I was a tsunami. The money, the fame, the power, it was all gone. She was facing years in federal prison, complete bankruptcy, and millions of dollars in restitution fines. The once flawless influencer, who had mocked a little girl for playing in the mud, was now nothing more than a pathetic, disgraced cautionary tale. A few months later, the dust had finally settled. Meghan had been officially indicted on multiple counts of wire fraud and tax evasion. She was forced to sell her luxury penthouse and her designer cars just to pay for her defense attorneys. Her face was plastered across the tabloids, looking exhausted and makeup-free as she walked into the federal courthouse. There were no ring lights. There were no filters. Just the harsh reality of her own actions catching up to her. My mother had moved out of state, unable to handle the social fallout of her golden child's criminal disgrace. Our family was fractured, but honestly, it felt like a massive toxic tumor had finally been excised. My husband, who had returned from his conference horrified by the ordeal, stood by me completely. Our home was peaceful again. The paparazzi didn't care about a boring accountant in the suburbs. We were safe, quiet, and happy. Maya's scalp had healed perfectly, and her pixie cut had grown into a stylish, messy crop that she absolutely loved. She was back to digging for fossils and playing soccer, completely unbothered by the superficial world her aunt had tried to drag her into. It was a warm Saturday afternoon. I was sitting on the back porch, drinking a glass of iced tea, watching Maya run through the yard with our golden retriever. She was wearing her favorite mismatched socks and a shirt covered in mud. She laughed wildly, her voice echoing through the trees. I smiled, feeling a profound sense of peace wash over me. I opened my laptop and checked the news. A small headline caught my eye. Disgraced influencer rejects plea deal, trial set for fall. I closed the laptop. I didn't care anymore. Justice had been served, and the monster was locked away in a cage of her own making. I walked off the porch and out into the yard. Maya ran up to me, holding out a dirty rock she had found. "Look, Mommy. It sparkles," she beamed, her face smeared with dirt. "It's beautiful, sweetie," I said, kissing her muddy forehead. She ran off again, free and joyful. My sister had crossed a line, thinking she could use my child as a prop. But she learned the hard way that a mother's love isn't an aesthetic. It's a weapon. And I had aimed it perfectly.